Shit moms won't say.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shit Moms Won't Say. Hello. If you watch this show at all, you know I am a little bit of a snob, and I have said many, many times that very few people make me laugh out loud. However, I have somebody here today who literally gets me so good all the time, and I'm so excited to have her here. She is a self-proclaimed Cuomo-sexual like me. So I love that right off the bat. Yes, of course, Andy C. She is also the author of the very ridiculous and hilarious book Momzillas turned TV show Odd Mom Out. Maybe you've heard of her. You probably have. Mom of three. Welcome to my show, Jill Kargman.
Thank you so much for having me. You're so nice.
I'm so nice. Oh my God, you're right. No, thank you for being here so much. And you'll notice I have this like sun glare going on right now because Jill's schedule is nutty. So we're doing a little daytime filming, but I am wearing a very special shirt for her, the Supremes. You can't really see because of the sun.
I love it.
But it is all of our girls, so we're well represented because Jill and I are both good mask-wearing citizens.
We are.
Listen, before we jump into the Big Mom 3, you do two of the funniest impressions I've ever heard in my life.
Really?
You do. One of them being Danielle, which is, she's like this soul cycle instructor who's like, she's just struggling. She's struggling. It's so hard for her during COVID. And then you do, and I was wrong on who it is. It's Melania's childhood best friend who's always like, Melania, come back, come back. It's so good. How do you like, are you just like sitting at home like, I gotta fuck with these people?
Yeah, I was so bored this year, like everybody else. And I wasn't, getting paid to be doing a job really, because my job was not starting till September. And I just started like fucking around with these different characters that I'd had in the hopper, because I've always like been able to pick up accents very quickly because I speak some languages, but I live in New York City. You hear many different accents. So I thought maybe we could toy with like Melania's background. How did she grow up? What do her childhood friends think now? Are they pinching themselves that she is first lady in America? And then Susan was a soul cycle instructor. She just beats the shit out of you if you don't do the fucking work. And Danielle is like one of these people who can't handle 2021. They just think it's a fucking nightmare and their kids are driving them crazy and they don't stop complaining. So I just kind of wanted to like hold a funhouse mirror up to some of these people. It's never spiteful. It's always kind of like, mocking with love. But I did hear a lot of people complaining this year. And I obviously did not enjoy being in lockdown. But I don't know. I feel like because we started our year actually in Anne Frank's apartment last New Year's in Amsterdam, I feel like I had like 6 weeks before the COVID lockdown or the first death, we were standing in Anne Frank's apartment in Amsterdam. So like when everyone keeps saying it's like such a nightmare, I know it is for people who have lost jobs or buried loved ones. And there's a morgue body truck down the street. I mean, it's no picnic, but for those of us who are lucky enough to be home and have a roof over our heads and be safe, you have to keep it in perspective. We're not being loaded onto train cars. Like we're lucky to be home and safe and have people protecting us.
But what about indoor dining? How am I supposed to go out to eat?
Well, we still are because, we've been very careful. You've been way more careful than I have. I feel like you're probably a 10 out of 10 and we're like an 8.5 out of 10. Like I wear a mask and I social distance and I'm never in groups, but we've been eating indoors since June and once in a while. We like supporting our New York restaurants because they're in deep shit.
You have to. They are in deep shit because we can't support New York theaters right now because they're not open. So for everybody.
Yeah, but you're right. There are people who think it's like a huge tragedy. So we're not that. But we are trying to support and do what we can. But so far, so good. I feel like if you do as much as you can and just try to like keep your sanity, I think like just knowing how lucky we all are makes it so much easier.
It's true. That's a great perspective because people are really riding the struggle bus right now, and really all they're being asked to do is stay home with their kids and love them a little bit harder and watch Hulu.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, because you're a mother of young children, I am not. I have teenagers, and even though everyone kept saying like teenagers are hell, I actually had the opposite. Like I'm lucky. We have fun. I mean, they're not like polishing their halos. They have their moments, but we have fun. When I had 3 under 4, I was not in a good place in my life. Like I remember being so fucking tired that I couldn't function. I was so tired. It was like the second I got up, I was like, how am I going to get through this day? And that was without a pandemic. So I really feel for you guys. I think it was one of the hardest chapters of my life without any of this. So that's a different boat. You guys definitely have way more on your plate than I do.
Yeah, she's 1. So she's not, I mean, she's nuts. She's fucking psychotic, but she's not like 3 and all over the place. I think it's about perspective. I think everybody's fared in their own way, unless you have lost a loved one or you're sick, has fared pretty well.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the Big Mom 3. So I'm going to call you out on this because I love it. So I always, little cat out of the bag, I usually will meet with a guest before they come on the show, mostly to prove I'm not a murderer and like give them the lay of the land. Jill said to me, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, I feel like even when I have done TV shows where they say, no, we really like to, Jimmy Fallon's producer, they're like, we're going to tell you all the questions. I really feel like it's just more fun if it's fresh.
And also, I like your sweet name drop back there. That was terrific. You're Jimmy.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
That's so cool. What a great guy. And friends, I'm riding the struggle bus with my Edward Cullen, as Jill called it, sparkle, maybe perhaps spontaneous combust, but we'll all deal with that. So let's jump into the Big Mom 3. So first question, the Big Mom 3, did you always know you wanted to be a mom?
Yes, from like as long as I can remember. I'm really close with my mom, and she had me really young. She was 22, 23. And I think we just had a really good relationship, and I just always knew I wanted to be a mom. I played with the babies and all that. So I was always knew, yes, for sure.
And you have 3. So what's the breakdown? What are the ages?
17, 14, 13.
17, 14, 13. Okay. You're in teenage years for sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's like really much easier for me than when they were little or having tantrums. They always say like pay now or pay later. In New York, I feel like the people who say my teenager's such a little bitch slamming the door and calling me shit. I don't know that. I don't know. I think a lot of people on the Upper East Side farm out motherhood, and they have 24/7 nannies raising their little kids, and they barely are with them when they're little, and they're out every night. And then I don't know why they're so shocked when the kid's calling them a cunt,
Well, yeah, exactly. You sort of reap what you sow. And I definitely want to talk about Upper East Side life in a minute because there's some good shit in there. But let's jump to second question, the Big Mom 3. And I think if you don't give me the best answer I've ever given just based on your like career, I might just stop recording. So we'll see how it goes. But okay. What is the shittiest or most backhanded piece of advice you've ever gotten from another mother or parent?
I've had so many. I mean, I don't even know where to start.
I wrote a whole fucking book about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't breastfeed, so I got a lot of mom shaming stuff about that because I'm a bottle feeder. And so there was countless of those. But I would say the number one is that when I would be tired having, 3 little kids, a baby and 2 toddlers, and one would be like screaming or freaking out or hitting the other, and people saw me struggling and I looked like I just got shat out of a camel's ass. These moms would condescendingly look at me and go, just wait, little kids, little problems. And I was like, fuck you. First of all, I'm here to tell you guys, it's not even true. I had a way, you can rationalize with a 14-year-old, you can have a conversation, and you can't make necessarily a 2-year-old stop crying unless you're giving into all of their demands, which you shouldn't do. So like, I was constantly saying no. And it was it was just really hard when people said shit like that to me. Like, just wait till they're out and you have no idea where they are. Just wait till they're slamming the door in your face and calling you a fucking bitch. And like, that hasn't happened to me. I mean, there's been door slamming, but like, it's just, the people made it sound so much worse than it was. And it depends on your personality maybe, but for me, I had a harder time, even though they're so cute and little, I had a hard time with just irrational tantrums.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. And I think just wait in the same vein as like, well, you should really blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the same thing. The just wait, it could put me in a fucking coma. Like,
me too. It's so rude. It's so rude.
So rude.
It's really saying like it's all downhill from here. It only gets worse. And it's like, why would you say that?
Why did you have kids?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I always say the opposite. Like, if I see a mom who's about to cry and she has a baby, I'm like, it gets so much easier. I sleep 9 hours a night, hang in there, you know?
Well, that's why you're on the show, because you're a good person and you're a good mom. They're not allowed on the show, those women. Hear me loud and clear. Okay, third question of the big mom 3. What is a skill or a superpower you had before becoming a mom that you think has really helped you as a mom?
Well, my real superpower, it's like my X-Men mutation, is that I'm invisible to bartenders. And the only way that's helped me as a mom is because I've been housebound, or I was for 11 years. I learned how to fix my own drinks. But I would say really, before I ever had children, I have no edit button, and that's a blessing and a curse. I can get myself in trouble, but I don't really give a shit what most people think. So I would say it's helped me as a mom because I have really honest conversations with my kids and I don't sugarcoat anything. And maybe some people keep things on like a screensaver level with their kids and don't let them into their hard drive as a woman, but I don't do that. And so far it's been helpful for me.
Well, and that's probably why you haven't had like kids, I mean, door slamming, but maybe not being like, you're such a fucking bitch and you're such a this and you're such a that, because like you're honest with them.
I'm really honest with them. And I know a lot of people, you know, they want to sugarcoat, and I get that instinct too, but
yeah,
I feel like, I don't know, it's worked for us.
I think that's great. I think it's a great superpower to have. And like, you know, we value honesty in my house. And I think hearing from moms of older kids is always helpful. Not the other way, not the just wait, but the like, if you keep being honest with your kid, perhaps they won't call you a cunt and slam the door in your face.
And they'll be honest with you. If you tell them stories about when you were younger, I think it makes you more relatable as a human. You're not on a pedestal. I don't know that people are doing their kids any favors to say like they were total angels their whole lives and perfect, and you have to do things this way. I think sharing that you have made mistakes and sharing your vulnerabilities, just let them know that it's human when they have that.
I think that's great. So speaking of human vulnerabilities, I read a quote of yours the other day, and I'm going to read it, and my handwriting is like, I may as well have written it with my feet, but I'm going to try to read it verbatim. But you said something that when I read it, I was like, that's it. That's the thing. And I think that a lot of creative parents specifically will relate to this. So you said right now in this time, you feel pressure to shit out some masterpiece. Shakespeare didn't have 3 kids asking about dinner, a couple things in between. But then you said, as a writer, I'm just not feeling a magnum opus at this time.
Yeah, like, at the beginning of the pandemic, March, a lot of people had said, you know, King Lear, Shakespeare wrote King Lear during lockdown. And when everyone kept sending that meme around, it made me feel incredibly pressured. And I didn't want to have that kind of like gun to my head, because I didn't have enough stuff to do that I was supposed to somehow create this masterpiece magnum opus when I wasn't feeling it. And I feel like this year has been strange because I've had fits of productivity and then total laziness. And I think that if you are creative, you have to lay fallow and you have to kind of just do what's clawing its way out of you. And if it's not, if you force it, it's going to be drag.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to be terrible. But I love that. And I feel like specifically women and specifically mothers aren't, and they never do, right? It's our nature. They specifically now are not cutting themselves nearly enough slack. And whether that's like, you know, magnum opus being produced or just like my kid watched a little bit too much TV today. So like, I think that quote sort of embodies it, as everybody is just a little bit stuck, and we have to be okay with that.
By the way, no one watched more TV as a child than I did. I mean, now I love to read, but when I was a kid, everyone kept saying, read, read. Reading is the key to life. Reading expands your mind. And I really didn't like reading as a kid. I felt like it was for school, and I just wanted to watch the Brady Bunch and Dallas. And all I did was watch TV for hours and hours and hours. And I just don't think it hurt me. I got into reading later, and now I definitely read more than I do both. I watch TV and I read, but I feel like TV didn't hurt me that bad. I mean, I wasn't watching like wildly inappropriate, violent, horrible things or porn. I wasn't fucked up by my viewing choices. They were wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's funny because you became a writer. So I think people assume like writers read, which they don't. But you've obviously made some good choices from your TV watching, given where you are in life, right? So let's chat about that a little bit. And then I have a sub question also, because you watch a lot of TV. So, before we even get there, what are you watching right now? What's like the pandemic?
So we're super weird. Everyone assumes that I watch comedy, and I sometimes do. Like, I love Big Mouth on Netflix. It's about 30. I think it's brilliant.
So
I binged that new season. And I don't know, I like some comedy, but I love political thrillers. Last night we watched Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger again. And then I watched the trial of the Chicago 7 twice. I watched it twice.
Ooh.
It's so fucking brilliant. My favorite show of all time is Peaky Blinders. It's on
it's great.
The best show I've ever seen. The guys are so hot. It's so amazing. It's a little violent, but it's like righteous violence.
I like it.
So yeah, that's my favorite show. And then I rewatched all of Game of Thrones this year with my kids because I decided they were old enough. I mean, maybe they're not, but whatever, they're fine.
It's a pandemic.
Cracking skulls and banging whores.
That's right.
But yeah, I just love, we watch a lot of Netflix. I am though, because I'm 46, I still turn on the TV and flip through channels. And sometimes I stumble upon something. Yeah, my kids don't do that. And my husband doesn't do that. They like seek it out on Hulu or whatever.
Me too. Well, and part of the reason I was asking is because your Danielle impression sounds so much like one of the new housewives from Salt Lake City that I was wondering if you were watching it and that you were copying it. But it sounds like you're a much more mature person than I am and don't watch the Real Housewives.
No, it's funny because Odd Mom Out, my show it's now on Peacock, but it started on Bravo, and I never watched Bravo. I don't do reality.
Okay.
Sometimes I watch Chopped Junior with my kids.
That's a fun one. Yeah. That's like
I just can't get into reality. I like crazy, being transported. I love Mad Men,
Okay.
I loved Belgravia. Belgravia was great this year.
Okay. That's fair. So your impression is just an original, which is even better. But so let's talk Odd Mom Out. So you wrote this insane book, Momzillas, years ago, which is about Upper East Side momming and just how nuts it is. And it was made into a TV show. So where is this all going now? Because you had a pilot filmed, and now the whole thing's on Peacock now, right?
Yeah, the show is all on Peacock. It's 3 seasons, and I was working on a new show, and then the pandemic hit, and I feel like right now there's such a backlog on all of the Hollywood slates of stuff that was already sold before COVID. So I'm just going to wait it out a little bit, because I think unless your name is like The Rock or Reese, it's hard for someone at like my level to sell a show. So I think I'm just going to wait. And I've been writing a lot of magazine articles and essays and things like that. So it's been fun.
That is fun.
Yeah, it's fun doing smaller things. And there's a bunch of, those like anthologies. There'll be like a collection of essays. So I did a few of those that come out next fall.
Very cool. Well, so what I love is like, so obviously Momzillas was inspired by your own, experience with Upper East Side moms. And like, I don't know if you come from a pretty famous family. So like, for your
I mean, I wouldn't say famous.
You do. You totally do. You absolutely come from a famous family, 1,000,000%. Not in like a weird way, like in a good way. You know, like in a you hold some clout kind of way.
I literally never thought of us as that.
You totally are.
It's not.
I need everybody to stop
my
watching
brother-
a second and go Google Jill Kargman's family. And then come back and be like, a little bit.
Well, my brother was married to Drew Barrymore, and she's like a bona fide celebrity. And I see her life. She's still, one of my closest friends, and I work for her. I'm on her show, but it's a different life. Like, I don't think of myself as famous. She's famous.
She's famous. Yeah.
People everywhere we go, people like burst into tears. It's a different thing. So I mean, I can like live my life, and I don't have what she has. That will be hard. She handles it so beautifully.
Yeah. She just seems like a flower of a person, like the most delicious human being.
She is. She's exactly like what you see.
That's great. That's so nice. But okay, so we won't call your family famous. We'll say you come from an interesting lineage that has led you to live, fair enough, on the Upper East Side, raising your kids on the Upper East Side. So I don't know. I guess my question is like, was there something specific that you ultimately said, like, I got to write this shit down? Or was it just like this whole combination of like lifestyle of people, like you said, passing the buck on parenting and giving unsolicited, terrible, like, oh, you'll see? Or was there like a straw that broke the camel's back on that?
Yeah, it was a ballet class with my daughter. I think she was like 1.5. It was more of an excuse to just like have her run around. Like, I didn't really care about her. But these moms were like pulling the perfect ballerina buns and had their whole outfit. And the moms got dressed up for each other. Like, they would all be decked out for class. And I was like in my Urban Outfitters, looked like it threw up on me. And Sadie was running around, and the ballet teacher came in. We were supposed to sit in a circle. And I said, Sadie, honey, come sit down Indian style, which is like what I called it in the 70s. And I wouldn't call it that now, but this was 16 years ago. And these moms like all started whispering and said, that's just really inappropriate. You don't say Indian style, you say crisscross applesauce. And I felt so guilty and horrible that I just started crying in the bathroom after. Like, I was shaking. And I realized that it was very much like that motherhood was going to be kind of like middle school or something, where there's these rules and cliques, and they had all done Lamaze together and were best friends. And I didn't have any friends with kids yet. My friends were like seriously blowing bartenders at Bungalow 8. Like, they were not there yet. And they all became moms who wanted to, but I was always like hell-bent on becoming a mom earlier. And so, the price that I had to pay for that was I didn't have like a squad. And so I remember coming home that night, and I always would tell my husband these stories, and he said, come on, you have to laugh at this. Like, crisscross applesauce, like, you just write this down. Like, this is your next book.
Yeah.
And because I had a writing partner, and she wanted to do her own thing and write murder mysteries. And I just didn't know what I was going to write about. And it turned out he was right. Like, and when I originally went to my agent, not my current agent, it was kind of her boss emeritus. And she used to like chain smoke. And she's like, what do you want to write about moms for? That's not sexy. And I was like, but women can still be sexy. Just because you have a kid, it doesn't mean like you've given up all of your sexuality. Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, it's a niche. Don't write for a niche. And I said, it's a pretty big niche. And so I wound up going around her and sent 60 pages to my editor of one of my other books. And she was like, done, I want it, and called that agent. And then sure enough, there was a whole New York Times story about mom lit was like a trend. And so I do think it's really important to not just for work or whatever, but to just like follow your instincts. And as you were saying about creative parents, do what's clawing its way out of you.
Yeah.
Don't for the marketplace. Don't do anything for anyone. Do it for you, because chances are if you feel strongly about something, other people do too.
Love it. Love it. Good answers. Okay. This is my final line of thought before we sort of start to wrap up. So being in Hollywood in some way, shape, or form, whether it's TV or writing or, working for Drew Barrymore Show, You have 3 kids that are teenagers. Are any of them interested in pursuing that life? Or is this something that has struck them as like, hey, this is pretty cool that my mom does this? Or are they like, nah, fuck that. I don't want that. I'm going to become an attorney.
I don't know what they're going to be. And I never ask them because I just want them to be who they're going to be. I never really prod them. They're all 3 characters and they're all very, so I definitely have friends. One of my best friends, Richard, who's my boss at Harper's Bazaar, was over yesterday and he's like, they could be actresses. They could be, or people always say my son Fletch could be Will Ferrell, because he's funny, but I sort of think like if they want to, they will. And I don't really never like push them towards it. We know a couple families like that who are kind of stage moms and pulling the kids out of school for auditions. And it's just not our thing. I'm not, whatever. I don't mean to judge. It's just not our thing. I want them to get an education and focus on character and just see what happens. But I feel like I had no idea what I was going to do at that age.
I don't think you can. Like, I think even if you think you have no idea. I think you know what you're passionate about from an early age, but I think what that ultimately transfers to, you don't really know till much later on.
Totally. And you have to follow the green lights.
You do. Like I think there are a lot of people that are like, well, I'm good at dancing, so I'm going to be a dancer. They never really think like, could that mean I'm going to be a dance teacher? Am I into fitness? I don't know. Like it could go a million different ways. It doesn't mean you have to work for, the American Ballet. But people are very pigeonholed. So that's good. I'm glad that's nice to hear you're letting people do. I mean, I always joke on the show. So my wife and I are both, theater people. And if my daughter pursues anything but theater, I'll jump off of my roof. But I'm sure we'll be fine with whatever choice she makes.
Yeah, and you can still enjoy theater. She can still always perform. She can, you know what I mean? Like it's not binary. You can be all those things.
Absolutely. You can be all of those things. You can be in business. You can be an actor. You can be a writer. Who cares? Do whatever you want. Just be happy. That's really, I think, the end of the day, like what parenting, and I hate saying it should be, right? Because it's such an icky term to say to another person as it should be, but that should be. Your goal as a parent should be to have your kids just be happy.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a hell of a job, you're
so friend. Nice. It's easier now. Trust me. It's so much easier now. So if you do have young kids, don't worry. It only gets better.
You can say just wait, but in a nice way.
Yeah. Just wait. You think it's fun now.
Just wait. Smile.
Fun. They don't have those cute little feet. They have smelly teenager feet, but they're more fun to hang out with because they're like your friend.
Well, so my daughter, I loved her, like her little fat rolls, on her arm. Yeah. So I got them tattooed on my arm. So that way I can always see. So even when she gets older and, more fun and easier to talk to, I'll remember just how delicious she was.
Yeah, it's so cute. They're so cute. I mean, believe me, I don't like put it on a pedestal because if you had a time machine to go back, I remember just I look at pictures and my kids say, Mom, you look so tired. I mean, I was so fucking tired. And so I miss all those cute things and the giggles and all those things. I love where we are now. I wouldn't go back.
Love it. And you're getting sleep. All right, let's start to wrap up. So sleep. Yeah, you sleep all the time. I have 2 final questions for you. So first question, what is something, and you have teenagers, so I love this question because it varies by age of children. What is something, a product, a thing, a feeling, I don't care what it is, that you cannot live without in this exact moment as a mom?
Music. We blare music all the time. I turn on the lights and I turn on music. We have a Google Home thing and it hooks up to my Pandora. I play music all the time when I'm getting dressed, anything. And we have different tastes in music. Hi, sweetie. My son just got a haircut. He was coming to show me. Sorry. I would say I couldn't live without music. It helps me when I have had moments of feeling blue in 2020, especially before the election. I was getting really stressed out. And
why?
Blare rock music. Just our democracy in the balance. I would just blare my music. And that for me, some people say they get endorphins after running 10 miles. I can get it from Soundgarden. Like, it doesn't matter what your musical taste is. I think if it exhilarates you and it speaks to you, inevitably you'll feel better after 30 minutes of just sitting with your headphones or playing something. And when they were little, we always did dance parties. It's in the pilot of Odd Mom Out, waiting for my husband to come home. He came home pretty late. When they were little, they didn't always stay up. And we had dance parties every single night, partly to wear them out, but partly for me to like burn off steam. And it was so much fun. And it's just been really a constant in 17 years of being a mom.
That's so cool. That's great. Okay, final question. What is something you know now that you wish you knew before becoming a mom?
I would just say that it gets better and better.
Just wait.
Just wait, it improves. Yeah.
Wait.
Everyone said that stuff about like the days are long and the years are short. And I know that that's true, but for me, I felt like the years were long too. When you're in it,
Yeah.
it was hard for me, but it gets better and better. And when you are a new mother, you might have that feeling of like, my life as I know it is permanently over. And it's not true. You snap back, just like physically, emotionally, you can get back, motherhood can dilute you a little, but you'll get back to your balsamic reduction.
I like that. You become a person again and a salad dressing.
And you become even better. Yeah.
That's right. You keep on improving. Well, look at this. I've done a complete 180 during this interview in my office. I've gone from one side to the other. You're the first person who's ever had the pleasure of getting the grand tour of my office and saw my, what I call menopause fan. I don't care if I'm 35. All I do is sweat. But Jill, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you? Where can they watch Odd Mom Out? Where can they buy your books? Give me the rundown so we can make
That's
some
so nice.
sales.
It's just my name at Jill Kargman on everything. And then Peacock TV. It's free. It sounds like, oh, I don't want to sign up for another thing, but it's free. If you have, whatever, you just download it, the app, and you can watch it. And then
that's NBC's new thing is Peacock.
Yeah, it's their service. And then sorry, what was the last one?
Oh, where can they buy your books?
Oh, and the books are sold. My last one is called Sprinkle Glitter on My Grave, and it's my favorite one. It's a book of essays about my life and raising kids in New York, and very much touching on some of the topics we discussed today. But I just want to thank you for having me, and have a wonderful holiday season and New Year, everybody. And we're almost there. We're combat crawling to the finish.
Close. We're so close. Jill, thank you so much again for being here. I really appreciate it. And everybody out there, thank you so much for continuing to watch Shit Moms Won't Say. You are making it a super fun ride. Have a great night.